introduce myself. My name is Jay Silverman of Monroe Design Studio, and I'll go through a couple of logistics before we get started. You pass the restrooms on your way in. They're right on this side, next to the entry door, past the sign-in tables. This evening, if you don't mind, please, for courtesy of your neighbors, shut your cell phones or shut off the ringer on your cell phones for us. We have comment cards. Hopefully you grab those at the sign-in table so that you can use those if you've got any questions. Our intent is to have an open, productive night tonight. So we've got a presentation that we'll give at first, and then we're going to open up for questions and comments. We'll have a microphone over here. We'll try to give everybody the opportunity to speak or ask questions. In order to facilitate that, we'll put a 2-minute time limit on any questions or comments, and then ask you to allow your neighbors to speak, and then give you time at the end for if time permits. But we want to be respectful of everybody's time and be able to end on time tonight. And as well, if you do not get the opportunity to speak, please feel free to fill out a comment card and turn that in at the tables on the way out. Our associates will grab those for you, and we will respond to those comments. If you've signed in, we will be able to distribute information to you about this meeting, respond to comments, and also provide information on the upcoming meetings. So as I mentioned, we've got a program here for you tonight to speak to you and provide information. This is one of the first of 3 community interest meetings for the project as part of a community engagement process that precedes any kind of zoning or any kind of filing like that. So we'll give you some background, walk through goals, values for the project, give you an overview of where things stand to date, and then open the floor for questions and comments. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Clyde Higgs from Atlanta Beltline.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? Good. Before I get started, so again, I'm Clyde Higgs. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Atlanta Beltline, Inc. And before we start, I want to say thank you to you all and other citizens of Atlanta for making it possible for us to acquire the 63-acre tract of land on the south side of the Beltline that is ultimately going to connect the east side trail to the west side trail. So that is a historic moment for us, and so I want to give you all a round of applause. So real quick, I just want to take maybe a minute or so and just kind of introduce to you kind of our position in this whole process. Atlanta Beltline, Inc. Is the agent for Invest Atlanta, who owns the land. We're serving as their agent. So in this process, we are here to be an observer / scorekeeper. So let me just go over a couple of dates for you just to kind of remind you about the process and the whole timeline. So November 16, 2016, the RFP for the sale of the land for 1016 was released. In March 2017, the scoring was conducted for developers that were responding to this project. And in September 2017, there was a letter that was sent to the respondent, Fuqua. It was conditional sale to them. And then on December 2017, MOU was signed by Fuqua and Atlanta Beltline and Invest Atlanta on the conditions of that sale. So there were 6 conditions that were outlined in the letter. I think many of you have probably saw that. But a part of those conditions was robust community engagement, and that is one of the reasons why we're here today. And so we just wanted to set that stage so you understand our role, which again is observer and scorekeeper. But we're going to turn this over to the development team and allow them to give you the details on what's happening with the project. And so with that being said, I'll turn it over to
Great, thank you, Bud. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us tonight. I will start by confessing my severe fear of public speaking and a recurring nightmare I have of flunking out of college and back to high school. So interesting to find myself in both of these situations. So bear with me. My name is Jim Kegley, and myself along with Steve Bowen, we're the principal owners of the land that represents the site that we're going to discuss tonight. And really before I get into a background of who we are and what we kind of vision for the site, please allow me to thank a few individuals and organizations I think are here tonight. Dr. Bachman and Grady High School certainly for allowing us use of the school tonight. New council member Hyde and her chief of staff. Sorry that this had to be an introduction to your tenure, our project. Former Councilman Alex Vaughn, I think, is here, and thank him certainly for staying with us for 8 years as we chatted about the site and explored ideas, and nothing came to fruition, but we're excited to be here tonight, so certainly thank you, Alex. And then lastly, I'd like to really thank the Virginia-Highland Civic Association, who has spent an inordinate amount of time with our group over the years, planning, brainstorming, early morning meetings. So thank you for everyone's time as we move forward as well with the Virginia-Highland Civic Association. So by way of background, June of this year will start our 14th year of ownership of the site. So we started in 2005. Didn't really intend to assemble the site, but as it turns out, that's what happened. We've always known it's been a special site, so we want to treat it as such. As Clyde mentioned, in late 2016, the Beltline issued an RFP. We responded, and ultimately that was awarded to us in late December of 17. So today, this month, starts our first public process meeting, which is the first time in 14 years of owning part of the site or the site completely that we've been in front of the public for rezoning. So again, thank you for everyone for coming. Concurrent with the award of the RFP, we searched out for a development partner. We've talked to a lot of folks over the years, and particularly in the last few months, and ended up selecting Fuquay Development. So Jeff and Heather, I believe, are here tonight. We'd like to thank them for coming on board with this journey. And tonight we look forward to taking you through our presentation. And certainly we welcome all questions and comments and concerns. And no topic is off limits. So we look forward to your input as we move forward. Thank you again.
Thank you, Jim. So a couple of objectives that we want to walk through with you when we approach the process. First and foremost is to revitalize the site and take advantage of the special location in the city and in your neighborhoods. Next, we've already talked about that we want to engage the community, and thirdly, we really want to incorporate public comment into making a successful design and making a development that you feel like is truly part of your community. Our goals approaching the project were to enhance the Beltline and the existing public realm, complement the Beltline and the extension of the Beltline to the Beltline Trail, and treat the project as aligning to Piedmont Park. We also have incorporated, or want to incorporate, affordability and offer diverse housing choices in this neighborhood, and at the same time improve walkability, safety, and the quality of life. So the process that we're planning to go through is, as I mentioned, a set of community meetings. This is going to span over the next few months. We're also going to work with some working groups that consist of the leadership of the different neighborhood organizations and NPUs that are impacted by the development. And then eventually, at the end of this public participation process, pursue a rezoning of the site and go through that process, and that will take place later in the year, hopefully. The idea that we're As I mentioned in the beginning, we want to have a very transparent process. We've taken your names and information in order to share any meeting that comes up, or any information that comes out of this meeting. We're going to document the meeting, and also information will be available as plans develop on the Atlanta Beltline website. So you'll be able to see that information there. A few of the values that we established coming in, mainly values that we heard from the leadership of the neighborhoods, but we want to discuss with you further as we develop the design, are incorporating walkability, making an attractive pedestrian environment, taking advantage of what's here today, and improving that as much as possible through the development. Reinforcing the vibrant public realm that's in place here today, recognizing that the development is both on Piedmont Park and on the Beltline. Improving pedestrian safety, recognizing that that's a challenge in the neighborhood that's been brought to our attention, and doing what we can within the context of the project to address that. Incorporating public art, which is something that is already a strength of the Beltline and part of the character of the community, and so incorporating that into the project will only reinforce that tie to the community. I've mentioned a couple times already the community partnership, really working hand in hand with everyone here and the leadership of the community in order to make this a development that everybody feels like they have a part of. We want to relate to the rich context, recognizing that we're part of the Virginia-Highland neighborhood. We're connected to Midtown, connected to the park, and the rich context. So we want to develop a design for the development that responds to that. I mentioned affordability, offering a variety of diverse housing choices in this strong neighborhood. We think this is a very important part of the project. Beltline objectives, and also part of the development objectives. Design is significant. We recognize, as Jim mentioned, this is a very special site, and so the design of this development is going to be important and something that we know that you as the community are going to want to have influence in. Connectivity. We looked at the road diet plan and some of the other plans that are already in place in the neighborhoods, and want to take advantage of the work that's been done and develop a design that responds well to those. We want to provide amenities and services that are local, that are going to be appreciated in the neighborhood. Listening is going to be an important part of this. We want to make sure that you feel like your voice is heard, and we want to hear the ideas that you have to make this a successful project. I mentioned integrating with the existing plans, and we want to make sure that the development is responsive to some of the objectives that you've already outlined in the plans for the associated neighborhoods. And preservation is important. We recognize that the Virginia-Highland is a historic district, and we want to respond to that with our design. But these are just the initial ideas that we've had based on early conversations, and we want to hear from you, hopefully tonight, some of the values that you want to make sure are associated with the project. I'm going to walk through an overview of the project and share with you the location, some of the features of the site, some things that jumped out at us as we were starting to look at the design and wanted to talk through with you, and then we'll just share a little bit of concept imagery. One key element that I want to point out is as you mentioned, this has been an ongoing process over 8 years, and there's a lot of information out there on the web when we research the site, but we're really almost starting with a blank slate here. There was information that needed to be generated as part of the RFP process, but please don't think that this exercise is just to validate any specific existing plan. We really want to take in what we hear from you and develop something successful. So just to clarify, I'm sure everybody in the room understands the location, but we really wanted to point out the project site, recognize some of the significance of what's around it, recognize the neighborhoods and features around it. So this is probably a no-brainer for everybody here, but you can see our focus in the center of the east side trail continuation, as well as the end of the Beltline, Grady, where we're standing here, and the associated neighborhoods around us. We also took a look at proximity. So you can see how many features are already within a 5-minute, 10-minute, and even up to a 15-minute walk of the project site. And that's an easy bike ride from Pond City Market on the Beltline. You have walking access to all of the amenities of the park, the Virginia-Highland intersection, as well as Piedmont and 10. So this is the actual project site as we zoom in for clarity. So you can see the current, the East Side Trail, 10th Street. This is Monroe. The future Beltline, or the trail that's in place now, is dashed in green. The Park Tavern parking is to remain. The project site is here in this area, and then the parcel that's that is currently the Beltline's parcel is right there, that rotated rectangle. So you can see where exactly we're talking about. This diagram shows the existing zoning and the current lot configuration as it stands today. Giving a little bit more technical information about the site. These are some of the program concepts that we were thinking of when we approached the site, and that some of this is contained in our RFP response, and some things have been out there today. But what we're considering for the site is a combination of single-family residential, multifamily, and affordable housing, a food hall concept, a potential hotel, a natural food market, restaurants, and more enhanced public spaces as part of the site. We also took a look at some of the I mentioned connectivity and pedestrians, so we took a look at the existing pedestrian experience around the development, the Beltline being the major one, and the East Side Trail as another part of that. But we also looked at existing sidewalks and crosswalks and opportunities for pedestrians to interact with the site. We also, the red arrow is an existing connection from the park up to Cresthill, up at the top of the site, that would remain. These are vehicle connections, potential vehicle access to the site. We don't have on this plan now, but there are currently curb cuts for every single parcel going out onto Monroe, and as part of the development, we'll be required to, but also we'll want to limit that to just one vehicle access with another proposed access out onto Cresthill. And then this diagram shows bicycle connectivity, the Beltline Trail being a major feature of that, and then the extension down on 10th Street. But the project is really truly meant to front on the Beltline, so that there will be bike access to the development, as well as the continued bicycle access from Cresthill to the trail. This diagram shows our current thinking for the development on the site. What we've heard is very important over the last few months is to have a border of some form of single-family housing on Cresthill that responds to the neighborhood with a mixed-use development focused down towards the Park Tavern portion of the site, maybe with more of the density focused on this. But also, what we know, what we're planning is to have very active uses on the Beltline. We've heard and think that that's going to be really the front door for this development. With the number of people that are using the park, using the Beltline, already accessing the area by bike and in a pedestrian manner, and taking advantage of that and making that truly the front. The project will still respond to Monroe and face Cresthill, as you can see with a single family face, but we really see that as the front door to the development. The pedestrian experience we think is going to be very important. This view shows what it could look and feel like from the Beltline, and how you can see here how bike parking is going to be paramount, as well as pedestrian access to the site, aligning that with active uses. We're thinking of a food hall concept or restaurants on the Beltline fronting on the park, and being, as I mentioned in the beginning, an amenity to the neighborhood. So that really outlines our initial thinking for the site. As I mentioned, we really want to hear from you what your concerns are, what you want to see here, what you think is important as a concept for the site, and again, we'll begin a process where we're in partnership with the community. So with that, I'm able to open it up to questions and comments. And so in order to facilitate that, what we're going to do is set up a microphone. My associates Haley and Christina are going to take notes. It's going to be very important for note taking and for us to respond properly, for us to only speak one at a time. And then we can form up a line to come up to the microphone, and we'll hear your comments or answer your question as they're received. So folks with their hands up, probably the best thing to do will be to come down to the microphone, and we'll go through each of your questions. Like I said in the beginning, we want to have a time limit of 2 minutes per comment, just to allow everybody the opportunity to speak. So I may raise my hand as you're talking, just to let you know. With that, I think we're ready to open up the floor to everybody. One last thing, make sure when you're speaking to the mic, they told me to talk directly into it, so everybody can hear you.
I just wish you would repeat the thing about access points and where the single family stuff is, and where the road is, because the size has actually been wrong. I didn't get it.
Sure. The question is to clarify the access points and make sure we're clear on where the residential is. So this diagram, sure. Well, I'll just. I can do it. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. All right. Let's start with this one. So. Keep going. Okay. So, all right, let's start with cars. I hate to start with cars, but everybody's requested that, so we're going to do that. So cars will access the site primarily at the black dot off of Monroe. There's a gray dot for cars on Cresthill.
On the single family side?
That's correct. The challenge with the site, it goes without saying that there can be no vehicle access from the Beltline and Park side of the site. And with a site this large, the Beltline Overlay District, so the zoning will not permit multiple accesses off of Monroe, and that could be a challenge for traffic. We think one of the benefits of developing the site is going to be, so one of the benefits of developing the site is minimizing the access points and focusing there. However, to develop a site like this, we think it'll be logistically necessary for a second point, recognizing that it is a residential street and trying to work to preserve the character of that street.
Okay, I'm not introducing it. I don't think it's working very well. I'm not. This is one of the worst intersections in Atlanta. My question is, what are you thinking? How many extra cars are you bringing to this intersection? What is gonna happen? I go through this intersection 2 or 3 times a day, and it's already a disaster. What are you gonna do to make this a good experience for me?
That is an excellent question. And it is in the forefront. We know how important that is. As part of the project and part of the Beltline extension, it's going to be critical to improve this intersection.
But what? He's already played it all. What are you going to do?
How will someone make a left-hand turn off of Monroe into the project? Hundreds of cars on Monroe.
Hold on. I really want to do one at a time. So those are good questions, and I don't want to ignore those.
That was the question.
Answer his question about numbers.
You haven't answered his question.
Which question? I've heard many questions. I'm going to get into the person at the mic first, and then you can follow just to go ahead.
I want to know what you're going to do to this intersection to make it work for the traffic that already comes in there, much less the huge amount of traffic you're adding to the intersection. What are you going to do to the intersection?
Okay.
What's going to be better about it?
So the question is, what are we going to do to the intersection? And the answer is that there is a team from the Beltline and the city, and part of this process is we're going to work on that. So I don't have the answers today, but again, this is going to take time, and part of this process is figuring that out because it's critical.
My name's Greg Tanner. When I first got married 20-something years ago, I lived on Cresthill. Now I live 3 blocks north of that on Monroe Circle. I'm sorry I'm late getting here to the game. I had to stand in the back of the room because it took me 20 minutes to drive here. I leave my house at 5:50. So you're not real. I know you're the representative, so nothing against you particularly, but this is never going to happen. 30 years ago, they tried to pave Cresthill, which is a brick street. People laid down in the street. We're going to tie ourselves with trees. I got a child at Grady, who's here now. I had to drive here to pick him up with all of his sports equipment. I've got another kid who's in Inman right down the street who's moving here. The dangers of crossing this intersection, the intersections around here are absolutely enormous. 20 minutes to drive 5 blocks, and you want to add, what, 1,000 parking spots, a multi-story hotel, restaurants, et cetera. I mean, where are you guys even coming from to think that this is going to happen? I mean, it's not. Our neighborhood, we've lived here for ages, and we're not going to let this happen. It just won't happen. Right here on the corner, I know the city needs Beltline money, and they want to develop stuff, but this is just insane. As I said, it took me 20 minutes to drive 5 blocks. If you've ever driven this avenue in the middle of the morning, during rush hour, in the afternoon, it's already craziness. And now they're looking at bringing it down. The last study I saw, they're looking at 4 lanes down to 3 lanes with a turn lane in the middle. You add 1,000 cars to that? How is that ever going to work? It's not. It's not.
Well, we're still talking about that. And one of the things that is very concerning to me is you're proposing hotels and restaurants. One thing about hotels and restaurants is they require truck deliveries. And you have single-family homes along Cresthill. And so I assume trucks are going to be loading in there, or have you even thought of the amount of truck traffic that a hotel and multiple restaurants will require on a daily basis? It seems like putting a project like this on a street that was already clogged with truck traffic, because after all, Monroe is a truck wrap. And already that's one of the things that's causing so much of the traffic problem. And by adding a hotel and restaurants to this small little area is going to cause traffic chaos.
And a grocery store.
And grocery stores.
For clarification, we're not thinking of a grocery store on the site. It's use.
It's a difference for that differentiation without a difference.
But for clarity, I think you did raise a good question in there. That I heard, are we planning on having commercial trucks serve the hotel and restaurants off Cresthill? The answer is no.
Well, then they have to stop and convert the cost of Monroe. Monroe is actually worse because if an 18-wheeler is trying to turn in. I mean, if you've looked at the back of Ansley Mall where the giant trucks come in every day, I mean, hour by hour, they'll be on Monroe Drive. That's really nuts.
I'm a student here at While I'm graduating this year, I want to talk about traffic, mainly about safety. How are you going to ensure the safety of students and pedestrians at the corner of 10th and Monroe?
That's a great question, and it is part of as I mentioned, some of the fundamental goals for what we're doing here. Because not only, I mean, we understand that you're going to school here. We've heard from folks who live around here, a block away, 3 blocks away. But it's also important to the development. The development can't be successful without improvements to this corner. And we think that the two things go hand in hand.
How many more students are going to die at that intersection? Yeah, we're going to increase traffic count.
There was someone hit and injured 2 weeks ago trying to cross 10th Street. And then if you add 800, 1,000 cars to that intersection, how many more injuries or deaths are going to happen?
Answer the question.
The question that I heard was how are we going to improve the intersection? And like I said, it was recognized as a critical goal for the project to do that.
But you're not explaining how you're going to do it.
You better answer.
It's impossible that this kind of thing's thought of. I mean, we can have this meeting. You guys must have discussed it.
I want to give the people who are lined up in the microphone an opportunity to speak, and I want to address your question, but I do want to be respectful and keep the process. So I'm not trying to ignore questions.
So when the Beltline's finished, we're going to end up having a variety of land uses adjacent to and a block or two off the Beltline, right? We're going to have high-density mixed-use uses. We're going to have single-family uses that are right on the Beltline. And these are enshrined in the comprehensive development plan, which they're asking to change as part of this. We spent about 30 seconds on the most important slide that's shown tonight, which is the land use slide. Right? So the majority of this project is zoned single-family. Not just zoned single-family, it's single-family in the future comprehensive development plan. Changing that is no minor issue. And it should never be a minor issue, right? We blaze right through it, right? So all those R4 lots are viable today, right? They're viable today. I know you own them, but they're viable single-family lots today. If one of you wanted to sell your house for a major development on your single-family property, you're limited in your ability to do it because of the comprehensive development plan. So they're not just zoned single-family, that's all single-family use, right? And the really important ones are along Monroe Drive 2 and Cresthill. Shrinking those to some kind of cluster home thing kills the nature of the neighborhood. Dropping a major parking deck entrance onto Cresthill just kills it. So if we lose Monroe Drive there to apartments, we've lost Monroe Drive. We've lost our ability to protect Elmwood, Park Drive, Warm Circles, the rest of Monroe Drive. You have no legal defense to stop it. Jeff could go buy the next 10 houses, right? And you say, well, no, you can't do that here. You're like, no, absolutely I can. We just do it over here. There's no legal defense left. These comprehensive development plans are no minor issue, right? So there's no reason a development can't happen on this piece of property, the rectangle that's under contract, right, with stipulations. Can't happen there. But there's no absolute reason that we lose those houses on Monroe and Cresthill. And there's no reason, it's devastating to the neighborhood if an exit entrance to this whole thing drops on Cresthill. You've killed that. And then, and it just starts creeping down the street. You've lost that section of Virginia-Highland. You might have lost it 6 months from now, but you've lost it. You've lost our legal defense for it. So, and then that impacts, hey, Beltline starts going by single-family houses in Piedmont Heights. It goes by single-family houses in Ansley Park. You've lost your defense for an apartment complex at those sites. So, thanks. Tim Lane.
There wasn't a question there. But I'm happy to answer.
Okay, I'll follow up with a question for you then. Because I also looked at the Beltline development plan this afternoon. It was approved by the city in December 2011. And that plan has a map of future planned land use, and it doesn't contemplate high-density housing as you proposed it in your plan. So can you explain why you come forward with a plan that's inconsistent with Beltline development?
The development proposed will require a change to the comprehensive development plan, as pointed out. And that's and we do want to recognize
Let's get Jeff up and have him answer. Yeah. Because you're not answering the question.
Jeff, we'll be happy to buy back those single-family homes from you. If you want to sell them to a neighborhood, we're going to stop this development.
Do you want to go back to your question?
Yeah, I'd like to hear the explanation for why you're proposing a project that's inconsistent with Beltline development.
The simple answer is that it was part of the Beltline's objectives for the redevelopment along the Beltline. And it is the quality and character of project that would be required in order to provide affordable housing, which is a significant objective.
There's no contemplation for high-density housing on this piece of property in the Beltline development plan. In addition, under the Atlanta Code of Ordinance, in the Beltline Overlay District regulations, there's a section that explains the city's objectives as to the Beltline. And as part of those objectives, one of the objectives is to ensure that any new construction is compatible with the character of the existing established adjacent single-family neighborhoods. And this proposal is in violation of the Atlanta ordinance. In addition, that ordinance also explains that any project should maximize air quality and water quality, including that which supports tree planting, green space, and watershed protection. And instead, this property is going to tear down and destroy all of the old growth trees in that development. how is
talked
it
about,
consistent with that plan, that objective?
the items that you talked about represent sustainable infrastructure, which would be both required and planned as part of the project.
Well, I looked at a project rendering, is it not correct? Now, the grocery store was in your project rendering that you turned into the Beltline when you were awarded the RFP, correct?
A grocery store was part of the concept that had to be presented in order.
So you
as part
presented
of
an
the
RFP, you've
process.
changed your mind now, you're doing something else, is that correct?
We haven't established exactly what we're doing, but we're proposing.
You don't know what you're
uses.
doing.
We don't know what
We're having
we're
a
going through this
meeting,
process.
You can't tell us what you're doing on the property.
I don't want to give you the impression that there's a plan out there that we're trying to railroad through this process. We want to hear from you and incorporate your recommendations into developing a plan that's successful. A grocery store was part of the submission for the RFP, and there was also a different pattern of density along Cresthill, and the current plan is not to have a grocery store, not to have multifamily on Cresthill, and also the point about service vehicles on Cresthill has been received as well, incorporated in the current thinking of the site. But there's not a plan in the background that we're hiding.
Well, how does the neighborhood know what the plan is? Like, tonight's the first time I've heard of no grocery store, and it's also the first time I've heard about single-family housing on Cresthill. I live on Cresthill. I'm very interested in hearing about the single-family homes on Cresthill. Why don't we just leave the ones that are there?
To questions, and if I seem to be skipping one, it's because I'm interpreting this comment. But the question that you asked is as far as the process, what we're planning to do in our subsequent meetings is start taking what we hear tonight, developing a plan, and putting it back out in the future.
Okay, but can the people here tonight understand that there will be single-family homes on Cresthill? And will those homes have, as contemplated in the development plan, access to and from the property with driveways for each of those homes?
I think so. I don't think
5 stories, 10 stories.
What about the 11-story hotel? Is that still part of the plan?
The 11-story hotel is currently still in the concept for the site.
Is anyone here in favor of an 11-story hotel? No! Let the record be clear. This is eventually going to be, this will eventually be a reason for the project. And I think what we need to do as a neighborhood, if we're not in favor of this, is that we need to hire a zoning attorney, because there'll be a lot of attorneys. GoFundMe page, and I will put in the first $500 towards that.
You might want to tip the mic up.
I've been a real estate broker in the in-town market for 25 years, commercial and residential. I want to start out by saying that two-way development is a first-class act. Their projects have been successful. They've improved the quality of life in in-town Atlanta and other places, and they have the highest standards in the development community and have been recognized as such. Now, I'm also a board member of the Piedmont Heights Civic Association. And the last time a proposal for a mixed-use development came up on this site, I believe it was by Mr. Wayne somebody. And the position of our board at that time was that since the Beltline acquisition of property in this area was with public funds, that the only appropriate use for real estate acquired with public funds is for a public process. Having a quota on affordable housing just doesn't cut it. Now, as a private citizen, I have a vision for this site. Leave the single-family houses on Cresthill. If you want to rent them out, turn them into tax-allocated apartments or houses for teachers, integrated cluster, firemen, police officers, for the Beltline site, what we need is a grading annex across the street. Instead of Art on the Beltline, bring the Armajani Bridge up to 10th Street. Consult with Sia Armajani to reintegrate it and make it a pedestrian way for students over 10th Street and a gateway to Midtown. It would be the second most important public art site aside from the Noguchi Place in the state of Georgia. Look, public purpose is what this site ought to be about. Keystone site, just like the Ansley Mall and just like the rest of Piedmont Park. The proposal makes sense from a real estate cash flow analysis point of view. I can help you with that. But the point is, this Keystone site in the grading cluster just begs to have a public purpose. And we can all do better than that and perhaps reach a yes and a win for everyone that will recover your investment and then some. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Corinne Sibley-Wolfersberger. My parents have been residents since 1972. I've lived here since I was born in 1980. I was lucky enough to be able to get into the neighborhood after I got married. Right before the prices went through the roof. But I really feel strongly that this side of the park is residential. The other side has the high rises. Let that be Midtown. Let us stay in the neighborhood. Let us keep that income feel. I look around here and I know a ton of people here, just from being here for 37 years. If something like this starts happening, it starts creeping down the street. And I live at the corner of Monroe and Park right now. I can just see 5 years down the road, they're going to try and acquire everything and put high-rises down, because guess what? That's where the money is, right? The more high-rises we put, the more money we get. So, just think about the neighborhood, and think about what this neighborhood is all about, and think about all the people who have been here forever, and all the people who want to be here forever. I would love for my child to continue to live in the neighborhood. But if this starts happening, our neighborhood's gone. And guess what? We're all going to be becoming Alpharetta, John Street, But we're not going to pay that kind of money to live in town when we no longer have a neighborhood feel. And people from out of town always comment that when I come here, wow, you guys are right in the middle of Atlanta. But this is such a neighborhood. And don't give that away. So, are those R4, those are already owned by you? All of those houses?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, are currently owned by the development.
Would you want to speak to that?
The area in the blue is currently owned by the development team.
And the single-family homes that you're referencing that would line Cresthill, what does that really mean? Everyone's asked, what does it mean? Are they townhomes? Is it on the side of a 11-story hotel, and then those are townhomes with a pull-under garage? What is that?
We don't know exactly where we're heading with this, but townhomes are not single-family homes. So
Okay.
the single-family home concept.
Standalone
R4?
R4 home?
R4 has lot limitations, they may not meet R4, but single-family homes.
But the plan is single-family, standalone home.
Yes.
The backup to an 11-story hotel.
The idea that we presented so far, we don't know, but the concept is to focus the higher density and higher rise over on this portion of the site and stair step down to the neighborhood scale.
Please don't do it.
Hi, my name is Ann Pharisee. I've been a resident about a third of a mile from the park for 24 years. I've also worked in historic preservation for over 30 years. So I don't know where to begin with this project, but I'm plan to go to multiple meetings so I can ask multiple questions since I only get one. And thank you for asking about the single-family homes. Let's just zero in on the zoning. What are you all seeking? And what kind of density are we really talking? We're all throwing out numbers like 1,000 cars, and nobody seems to be flinching. So could you tell me what you're planning for zoning and what that will mean in terms of people and number of vehicles?
It's too early for us to know what zoning are. But we hope to work through this process and establish that, something that'll work for everybody's objectives. We don't know exactly how many cars because we don't know the uses yet. So we want to hear from you. One thing I do want to say is that the first of all, the Beltline Overlay District already limits the amount of parking based on use. And we don't know how many residential units or how much retail or how much food hall or any of that. We're just exploring these different options for the program. So that'll determine the number of cars. From a design perspective, we want to limit it. The development team has already stated it as a goal to minimize the number of cars and take advantage of shared parking, mixed uses on the site, and also not stay within the code limitations that are already in place for development.
So really, we don't have an answer yet.
Not yet, but not, as I mentioned before, there's not a plan in the background that we're trying to validate here, and that's why we're not ready to answer any of those questions yet.
Why did you call us meeting?
My name is Sebastian Thomas. That's my home at the top part of 1086 Monroe Drive. I've owned that for 15 years. My name is Carl. Carl's owned it longer than I have. Betty's my neighbor to the north. She's owned her home for 70 years. I came here again. You're to be commended to have the patience. I appreciate that everybody here is emotionally invested in our community. I appreciate your patience. I know it's not easy to stand up there and have people yell at you. But we all came here for answers, and it doesn't seem that many of them are forthcoming. I don't do this for a living. Educate me. I have 30 minutes left. 30 minutes left. What is R4? What changes to the zoning are you proposing? And what was the purpose of the meeting 2 months ago that was reported in the AJC with the mayor and city council members to discuss changes to the zoning?
Okay, some of that was answered about the process before you got here, and I don't want to answer that one incorrectly. But I can go through the other items.
I showed up late.
The R4 is a single-family residential zoning. Some portions of the site are C1, which is a commercial zoning. In order to develop a mixed-use development on the site, it will require a rezoning to another zoning category. That would be determined by the amount of density that's on the site.
Who would approve a rezoning?
The rezoning process, which this is not, this is the public participation process. The rezoning process goes through your neighborhoods, then your NPU, and ultimately city council.
Would the NPU have to approve a rezoning plan? It doesn't seem like there's approval for it in this neighborhood. So what is the necessary steps for you to rezone these lots?
After the public participation process, our plan is at the end of is later on in the year to pursue a rezoning of the site.
And who would need to approve a rezoning of the site?
Many of the people in this room are complete experts on the process, so I'm going to try to answer this just very briefly, so forgive me for summarizing. I don't want to skip steps, but the answer to your question is that process is a standard process where an application would be submitted to the city, then the development team, including this team here, would go to the neighborhood leadership of the immediate neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods, and then the NPU of the two NPUs that are impacted by the project, and eventually through the city council process.
They only make recommendations, the city council.
The city holds the keys.
And
as I mentioned, there's people who are complete experts out here.
My name is Nick Boxer. I live on Elmwood Drive, which is one up from Cresthill. We have 30, 40 houses on the street. Turning left, we can go two ways, but still, when you go out turning left, it's incredibly dangerous. You're talking about, I mean, let's be honest, you're talking about, from what I've seen, 750 parking spaces.
Just to clarify, I just want to say, that number was in the RFP, and that's
So that's sort of what we're talking about, correct? Okay, so 30 to 40 is difficult turning out with two directions that we can go. You're talking a single entrance and exit with 750 spaces. It also has commercial uses, which has people coming and going. This is just, I mean, be honest, this is not, and then you put these really nice things to begin with. This is about money. Is it not? This is about the people who own the property. It's not about making the belt line better. I mean, see, I personally think there should be redevelopment. So to me, where Home Depot and Whole Foods are, and Trader Joe's are, those areas are commercial areas. And if someone wanted to redevelop those and add density, Ansley Mall is inefficiently used. Those things should be redeveloped. If you want to help the belt line, and you want to help the city, go to the south side, which really has need of these kinds of I don't have a problem with development, but I've always been like, I'm not going to be a slumlord, and I'm not going to exploit people, and I'm not going to do things just to make money. I'm going to try and do well for me, and really respect the neighborhood. And do you really respect the neighborhood?
Yes.
Then you should leave it R4, because that's what the neighborhood wants. Do you really respect the neighborhood, or is the motivation here money? Because I don't see how this benefits us. Can you answer the question?
Can you, what is the question?
Explain to me how what you're proposing is respectful of a neighborhood that feels this will make our neighborhood more dangerous, more congested. You know, and I don't mean congested in the sense of if there's more density, because I believe in density. I grew up in New York City. I don't have a problem with density. But if you were proposing, oh, we want to take part of Central Park and build high-rises in the park, I'd say, no, that's not what it's for. So I just want you to explain to me how you are being respectful of us, other than the fact that you came and are taking a lot of crap for something that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I'm going to try to tease out the question is how we're responding to the neighborhood. The issues that you brought up are essential to making a good development project. Nobody's trying to build New York City on the side, and we want to work with you to make this a successful development. I think we're over our time limit.
If 70%, let's say 70% of the people who live in this neighborhood say, and signed a petition saying, we don't want this, would you reconsider applying for rezoning? Agreed. Would you reconsider 70%?
I don't vote for that. That's more of a statement, I think, than a question.
If 70% of people sign a petition from this neighborhood, would you reconsider applying for rezoning?
Percentage would I reconsider? As the president of the AIA,
so basically,
as the president of the AIA, answer the question, please.
The question is if there's
there's overwhelming opposition from the neighborhood.
We're starting this process to hear the concerns. I can't say I can't speak for the team to the end of the process. That's jumping down.
I mean, that's the point, you're really not answering. So it's like, it's okay.
So I've been here now, and